Two. All right, here we go. Today, we are going to get directly into how one individual surrounded by a good group of people can change the impact of an entire county and make the kind of moves that we all look for our leaders to make. But before we get started, I'd like to introduce my sponsors, Jab Juice Social Media, creating an opportunity for everyone to have a voice, especially when you have a message to get out there to the world. Their objective is always and solely to reach a massive amount of people with your message and make sure that what you're here for is known by the people that listen to you and hope and have hope to reach another level of life themselves. So creating these influential people is a powerful thing on the industry. So we look for good people and make sure that they are kind of aligned with us and at the same time so that they can reach their highest good. Because if you got a good message, definitely we want to make sure that you get your word out. But right now, I like to introduce a great friend of mine and running for mayor in the state of North Carolina, North Cackleback, Cory Branch, currently city councilman of Raleigh. So welcome, brother. It's good to see you, man.
Man, it's good to see you. It's good to be on. Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. And I know the people that we have that tune in here, they know when we handpick people that there's something that's going to come of it. And today I thought it would be good because leadership is a really good thing that we can target right now, knowing that it's going to be a year of elections and things, and a lot of different offices will change. And hopefully that office in Raleigh, North Carolina
In
will change
Raleigh, yes.
because that's right. That what will be, if they know what I know, it's pretty much a done deal. The only thing is I know who you are. And man, we talked about this a long time ago. We
A
talked
long
about
time.
a long time ago that this is
Yes.
where you belong. Yeah. And I couldn't have been more proud. So thank you for taking the time to do that and make that move and impact your community. But I want to take it back. I want people to kind of know the soil of who you are. You know, what had really gave you the real pinch to get in office in the very first place, because that's where it starts. What is your purpose? And I mean, what was that thing that said, yeah, I need to make some change?
Wow. So I'm a Raleigh native. And as a Raleigh native growing up, seeing a lot of things, after I
Yeah,
graduated from North Carolina A&T State University, I got
yeah,
involved in my fraternity, Alpha Phi
yeah.
Fraternity Incorporated. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the members, a brother of mine, needed a treasurer. So I
Mm-hmm.
jumped in. I was his treasurer, Judge Craig Kroom, for 10
Mm-hmm.
years. And being in that environment, I was around other elected officials. Some I already knew from just growing
Yeah,
up. But now I'm in an
yeah,
environment of where they're operating and where they're working. And
yeah.
honestly, I looked around and I saw more gray hair than young faces. And
Wow.
someone always told me, they said, if you're not at the table, you're on the table. So
Ooh,
as a
yeah,
kid, I've always had a acting, leadership, stepping up, trying to do what I can. But I kind of picked my
yeah.
position. I say that because in middle school, I ran for student body president and I won. But I
Mm-hmm.
never ran for another student body position ever. I went off to high school. I didn't do student
Yeah,
body. I did organizations and I was in leadership
yeah,
in different organizations, but I went off to college and I
yeah.
didn't run for any student government positions. Again, working in
Mm-hmm.
organizations, but God has a way of pulling you. And
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
junior year, going into my junior year, the incoming SGA president asked me, "Do you want to be involved and can you help with voter registration education?" And no one else had done it. It was an election
Mm-hmm.
year. It was 1998. And I said, "Sure, I'll do it. I'll jump in and see what I can do." And I created a position getting students registered to vote, going to forums, helping people, with campaigns. And then again, I left it alone. I
Yeah.
graduated. I came home. my fraternity brother. And then it was, I think it just hit me. I said, if not now, when? And so in
That's right.
2011, was the first time I ran for office. I ran against an
Hmm.
incumbent who had been appointed previously. So it was
Yeah.
his first real election. And I ran and I came in third. I don't say I lost, I just didn't get enough votes. But what I did out of that
Yeah.
was I jumped on board. I got involved with transportation on our Raleigh Transit
Hmm.
Authority. I stayed
Yeah.
involved. 2013 or 20, actually the same year I ran for office, I met my wife and we
Hmm.
got married in 2013. So I didn't run in
Yep.
2013. 2015, I ran for city council, District C. And since October of 2016, I have been the city councilman for District C.
Bam. And that is the journey. Brings
Yeah.
us all the way up to this day. That was smooth, very quick. That was a boxing round, but that was perfect. No, really, man, because you've gotten this thing encompassed. That you've really, really learned how to make that thing tight and concise. You just told the whole story in like under 3 minutes. That's a round. So congratulations on
Well,
that.
you say if
So
if you can get them out quick, then you don't have to go
you
the whole
knock them.
3 minutes.
I don't get paid for overtime, right? Dope, man. But you know what? I wanted to do because I saw one before I left the state. I saw that you had done. They did a nice piece over about the Kroger store over on by
Yeah.
Southgate, and you came on the news and you spoke your piece. And I just said, this guy, I know exactly who you are, and I know, do the people know who you are yet? Do you feel like over the course of time that you've actually been in office that they do they really understand? Because let's paint the picture.
Hmm.
When you're in school, there's the in crowd, and then there's the wild crowd, and then
Right.
there are the people who just won't do a lot. They just don't have direction. I've always seen that you are always never going to break your mold. You always were extremely respectable. You know, you always stay within your laugh. You never let your emotions control you on a negative tip. That never came off of you. As long as I've known you, and I've known you a very long time,
Right.
and you're going to see the wrinkles of a person. Do the people know you that are
I
there?
think
Do they know you? Do you think you still have a lot of? They don't quite know me all the way through. They might think I'm this facade, but
right.
do they know you? Do you think?
Um, I think those that have really taken the time to be
Yeah,
around me do.
yeah,
Um, it's one of those things where I wasn't always the one growing up out here and
no,
there and everywhere.
yeah,
Both of my parents, who are at the end of this month, will be celebrating 59 years of marriage. You know,
insane.
yeah, so
Yeah,
59 years of, and they're still in the house that I grew up in. But
yes,
having that foundation, in those
yeah,
rules,
the
and also
rules.
an older brother, you know,
Yes,
is extremely
matters.
helpful. So, having an older brother to look up to, learn
Hmm.
from his mistakes, how to
That's right.
navigate and what to do. I say life is too short to make every mistake. So you got to learn from other people. Um, so,
That's
so
right.
in doing that, um,
Yeah,
I think some people probably don't know the story of growing up as a kid. And, my next door neighbor, he was about 2 years older than me. And my mom and
hmm,
his mom were close. And when he outgrew clothes, they came over to my house and
yeah,
we would go through and what I could wear, I would wear. Because my parents, my dad was a machinist. My mom worked for the
yeah.
city. She was one of the first Black people hired by the city of Raleigh back in
Wow.
1970. They didn't make a lot of money. Neither one of my parents finished college. My mom did attend college. So when my brother went to college and got his bachelor's degree, master's degree, and doctorates, that helped
Yeah,
inspired me to go off
yeah.
and
He's
get my
smart.
degree and everything.
Yeah,
So I would say probably not a lot of people know that backstory of
yeah.
growing up, being a latchkey kid, coming home and you unlock the door and you get in and you don't open the door for nobody and
Hmm.
you wait for your parents to
Sure.
come home.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know, so I think there's a lot I would say people still are learning, but I think the thing that's consistent about me is what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
You know, I am
Yeah.
who I
Yeah.
am. And
Yeah.
my thing is, I don't believe in getting too high or getting too low because
Yeah.
life has too many swings.
Yeah, and I can co-sign on that. I've definitely seen you when things were tough, and you just always kept your chin up, chest out, and you just look for the next answer. So that's a trait that you can't really show a person how to do it, because that's internal fortitude is what we call it.
Right.
So as I think about it, in your experience, what are the most effective strategies for encouraging your community involvement, because when it comes down to your engagement in the local government, there are a lot of people that are in the communities that really don't feel like they have a place or a voice. What are your experiences? What do you do to help create that engagement for the regular community individual that just hadn't really taken part in anything? How do you encourage them?
So the first thing I would say is find what your passion is. What is it
Yeah.
you enjoy? Um,
Mhm.
if you enjoy giving back and volunteering, um, and you like to garden, where can
Mhm.
you go where there's a community garden? Or, you
Yeah.
know, if you like interacting with people, where can you
That's
go and maybe
good.
help some who are unhoused,
Yeah.
to find a place? Or, you know, if
Yeah.
you like educating and passing information down, where's a group of young people you can help with and at what level? Because you have
Yeah.
kids that I say from 5 and under, there's a certain set of skills and things and needs they have. Then you have, you know, those that are starting elementary school and in an elementary
Yeah.
school, they have a certain need. Then middle school, kids starting to feel
Yeah.
themselves, starting to smell themselves. You have to
Yeah.
approach them a certain way. And then you have high school. Hey, they know it all. They can answer all the questions. They can do it all. You know, you have to address them a certain way. So you have to kind
Yeah.
of meet people where they are, and just help people, you know, understand. First questions I always ask, what do you enjoy doing? And
Yeah.
then trying to connect them to organizations and resources. And if something doesn't exist, this is how you get started.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think because you've come from a real life, you have real parents who made real noise, you understand how to make them see that. So that's a
Right.
humongous part, because I've seen people in government really not know how to connect. I'm not even
Right.
going to say names. They just want what they want. They throw money behind their campaigns, and they hope that enough of those people that think the same way they do will come out and vote and stuff. So with that being said, during the duration of this tenure that you've had as a city councilman, what is something that you've really taken part in project wise that you feel very, very, powerful about that you've done? And what was the impact that it had on the community?
So one is around transportation. You know,
Wow.
there's a lot of conversation here in Raleigh about bus rapid
Yeah.
transit and moving that forward. We have a big
Hmm.
plan zoning case coming up on the Newbern Avenue corridor, which is all in my district. We're still
Yes.
moving forward with the infrastructure piece, but this is just the zoning piece, how land can be
Hmm.
used around it. But that's what gets the headlines. But the part that
Yeah.
people don't hear about that I appreciate is I think about when I first got on council, you know, there's an area called Battle Ridge.
Yeah.
And over there by Walnut Creek Elementary School, they never had bus service. So
Wow.
one of the things I talked to our staff about using our Wake County Transit Plan monies is how can we provide bus service to this area? So come
Wow.
around 2019, we were able to start providing bus service out to Battle Ridge area. You have a bus 18
Wow.
and a bus 17 that
Yeah.
now, you know, go out into the area. And that has a major impact because I
It's
know of a
huge.
young man who lost his life because he was waiting for a ride. It didn't show up. He decided to walk home and he got hit by a car. and never made it home. So, if the bus was running at that time, that walk wouldn't have had to have happened. So trying to find areas and find gaps. I just had a conversation with the county commissioner yesterday. I'm sorry, the county manager yesterday. And I shared with them how there's another county that the county provides bus service to areas where there's no other
Yeah.
municipality that
Wow.
provides that service. I said, have you thought about this for Wake County? In areas where Raleigh doesn't cover it, Nightdale,
Yeah.
Cary, no one else covers it. How can the county provide that gap to help people connect?
Wow.
Those are the things that I look at. Those are things I'm proud about, as well as housing. My district has had more affordable housing projects approved and built in the last 10 years than any other district in Raleigh. And there's
You
5
know
districts.
what? And I
And
love that.
is big. There's a
That
big
is
difference.
powerful. You know what? Because we were shopping houses there before I left, and your impact has shown there were areas that were out of this world price wise that I said,
Mhm,
wow, this is different. Okay. Because, Stacy didn't know, she ain't from here. And so when I was there, it was like, no, this area you used to have to be a lawyer to live here. Like,
mhm.
so these areas, so that you build around those areas off of Sandifer Road and all of that, these areas that used to just be, the places to be. So your work is definitely showing up. So when we speak of that, what exactly, what is the initiative, the plan that you have in place to get the youth involved in the communities more now as they move into this new millennia with the age of AI? And I know you're smart, you're from a smart family, and I know you can already see. So what is that vision like? What do you do to get those guys involved into the community and you know thinking higher?
Yeah, so first of all, there's 2 individuals in the community. I know James Montague as well as Lavelle Moulton. They
Oh
both
yeah.
have an initiative on STEM. And my wife's into the art. She's into theater. So she said,
Yeah.
well, why don't we call it STEAM? So normally people know it as science, technology, engineering, and math. Well, now let's talk about science, technology, engineering, arts, and math,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh.
what we can do there to reach our young people. I know Monty has a new facility that is being built that he's looking to run out of. But the biggest push I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
utilize too is we have community centers at times that are vacant. No one's in
Yeah.
it. The only person's there is staff. So how can we reach out to organizations that need space? There's some policy changes we're going to have to make as a city, but we need to make those
Yeah.
policy changes to allow organizations that are trying to have a positive impact and
Yeah.
expose kids to opportunities. That's the key, exposure to opportunities.
Big.
There's no
Yeah.
guarantee that I can't say they're going to get a job at IBM or AT&T or the company I work for, Kyndryl, in
Yeah.
IT, or some of these other companies that are out there. But if we can say, here are the skills that you need, then they
Yes.
have the opportunity to either seek to work for somebody else or start their own business.
See, yeah, that's exactly what these parents want to hear, because I got a ton of nephews, great nephews, great nephews now, and I want to know that they have a real chance to
Yeah.
hear and know that the initiatives that are put in place are set up for them to have success and stuff, because I can't put my hand directly on them because I'm 1,000 miles away now. But just knowing that you're already planning that is a big thing. And just education, do you guys have something that you're stirring up at least at the table to think about, like, so these guys can have like financial literacy kind of courses, things that they could take part in the community, like at the centers or something like that? Anything being brewed around that? Because that's a big thing now, a lot of
It
nonprofits
is.
being started off that.
It definitely is. And
Yeah.
there's a young lady, her name is Tatiana Cooper. She has a group called
Uh-huh.
Sage. and she works with young ladies, and she
Yeah.
25 young ladies. She has a waiting list of over 100, but the city has partnered with her, and she's working her program out of our teen center. So this is how the city has space
Yeah.
that's available. She has her nonprofit and her program, and it's not the city taking over her program. It's the city partnering with her to
Yes.
change the lives of these young people. And we
Yeah.
also have a digital connectors, that's making them computer illiterate. Because even if you want to work in finance, if you can't work in computer and navigate, you're not going to be able to operate in finance because everything's computerized now. So we're still working and trying to bring in those relationships. One of the things we do have is our Raleigh Summer Youth Employment Program. That was my first job. So my first job ever
Yeah.
was working with the city of Raleigh, and I was able to work in City Hall. And I worked
Yeah.
actually over in finance when the city used to have privilege licenses that businesses had to have to operate in the city. They had to file
Hmm.
all those papers back in the
Yeah.
90s. Well, I was
Oh,
the one
yeah.
that was filing all those papers back in the 90s.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many McDonald's we have in Raleigh back in the 90s. And
Oh,
just think about the way
yeah.
the city is grown now. Every single
Mm.
business had to have a privilege license. We no longer have that, but my experience in the building, being around other people, being in a corporate somewhat environment, city environment,
Yeah.
those are skills that prepared me. And we still are looking at internships, working with our
Hmm.
university. I know we had an internship
Big.
with Peace. We had some with Shaw. I'm not sure if we still have it with St. Augustine's University right now, but these
Mhm.
are things that we're looking at to help people at all ages. Because a lot of times people focus 18 and under, 18 and under. Well, we got to
Mhm.
find a way to reach those 18 and 25
Yeah.
because they're out here struggling, they're being attacked. But what
Yeah.
are opportunities and doors we can open for them? So we're
Wow.
still
That's
open. Like I said, I have 13 of the 28 community centers. So if anyone has a group,
13 of.
I have 13 of the 28. So if anyone has, and I'm just talking about community centers, I'm not even talking about little pocket parks and things like that. We have a very large park system.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
we're making major improvements. We're about to build a new aquatic center at Chavis, so people can go back
Bingo.
swimming at
Yeah.
Chavis.
Talking about,
And we have
yeah, that
programs where
land
we,
is enriched
yeah,
over the
but we have
years. Man.
programs where we teach people to be lifeguards, and we would help train you, and you can be a lifeguard, and just think how much money you can make,
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
even after you leave the city, because you'll be
Yes.
CPR certified, everything.
This is kind of what they need, is in that injection of somebody who's stepping up for them. And with me saying that, as mayor, how would you really ensure all of the voices in the community, and especially those who are kind of looked over and underappreciated, are heard and considered in decision making processes? And we know who that was as we were growing up. How
Mhm.
do we ensure, and what do we work towards to make sure that these are the voices that's heard? Like my aunt Kit, rest in peace, that would want to say
Yeah.
something, but really doesn't find there's a way that she can get her message across. How you plan on doing that, working on getting those voices heard?
So I'm glad you asked that, because one of the things I do now is I've started back my District C meetings, and what it is,
Hmm.
every month I have a meeting where I discuss things just related to District C. Um,
Yeah.
So the next one's January 20th. It's at 1214 East Lenore Street here in Raleigh. For anyone that's listening
Hmm.
that can make it, it's from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. We start on time and we end on time, because I know people Saturdays are very important. But
Hmm.
having that and offering that, and I specifically chose a location that's not a city center. It's a community
Yeah.
building that's owned by Miss Rhonda Muhammad and her family.
Hmm.
So I go there, we meet, and we have these conversations, and I'm able to listen
Hmm.
to people and what's going on. My ultimate goal as mayor is to do that quarterly. There's a lot of work the
Well,
mayor has to do. There's a lot of
yeah.
meetings. So it probably will
Yeah.
not be able to do it monthly, But if we can do quarterly, where I just go out in the community and just meet and just talk to people,
Yeah.
um, and have those
That
conversations. I
matters.
think the key is
That's
being
huge.
willing to listen and reach people. I go to groups now,
Yeah.
talk to seniors, talk to young people, and it's not just me talking; it's me listening and hearing what they say, and then following back up if there's something, and
Yeah.
being honest. Sometimes people say some things, and I have some ideas, and I'm not. It's something that I'm like I may have tried before or looked at before, and if it's not something that's doable, I'll say that's something that we still got to work on. We still got to find a way to get there. It's just something that may not be able to happen right now. And I think
Yeah.
helping people understand expectations, even
Yeah.
if they hate
Yeah.
what you say, if they
Yeah.
understand the
Yeah.
expectations, they appreciate it.
Well, I think that word is called communication, connection, like really just actually knowing. And in your defense, like there's no way people understand how much work you have to actually do as that person that's appointed at that position. So all they see is what they want. They're like, oh, well, he's busy. I don't know if you understand what being the CEO of a town is, but I'm super busy. I gotta stay. So I make it when I make it out here, man, it's like, and I'm coming out here with a smile. I want to hear you guys because this is overtime, but it's what I do. So I want to, with that being said, I want to ask you what have been one of the challenges that you kind of like it took you to bed and just start eating at your liver when you were trying to overcome how to figure it out? What has been something that you had to deal with and how did you overcome it? Problem solving is a huge thing.
Yeah, so I think we've had some major cases around downtown South development,
Hmm.
rezoning. We had a Shaw rezoning. Um, we also had, I think, dealing with missing middle, and missing middle is about trying to get more home options out. A lot of people thought it was about dollar amounts. No, it's about a variety of homes because we can't
Yeah,
really set dollar amounts. But if we can get
yeah,
duplexes and townhomes and a variety of things back out on the ground, cottage
yeah,
homes on the market, then maybe we can find a way to stabilize the cost of living and things of that nature. So for me, a lot of times, and I've shared this with someone just last week, I have heartburn and angst and trying to figure out sometimes what decision to make. So it's trying to get to the
imagine.
vote. But
Yeah,
once I make a vote, I live with my decision because I
yeah,
made my vote and my decision with the information I had at that time. And if
yeah,
something comes up later that maybe would have influenced my vote, I'm going to own my
yeah,
vote, but I'll say, well, if we can make changes and things, then we will. We can. We'll see what we can do. And sometimes it's possible, and sometimes it's
yeah,
not. Because sometimes once a building is built, it's built. So
yeah,
these are the things that I look at and I try to do, but it's trying to make sure I have all the information. And then also
yeah,
when people are voicing their concerns, listening to their words. People
yeah,
speak through emotion, and I
yeah,
recognize the emotion, but
yeah,
sometimes we get so blinded by a person's outward response and energy
yes,
that we don't always listen to the words that are coming out of their mouth, and
yeah,
listening to the words and then saying, hey, this is what I hear you are saying. Am I correct in what I'm hearing that you're saying? And then I
yeah,
think that helps people understand, okay, they're trying to understand what I'm trying to say. Once I understand the message, then we can figure out, okay, how are we going to solve it? A lot of times we agree, society, on what our issues are,
yeah,
and we agree on why we probably need to solve it.
yeah.
The issue where
Wow.
that meets the rub is the how. How do we
How?
solve it? Because
Yeah.
everyone has an idea on their opinion. And when I make a vote and a decision, I also make that decision on what are some of the constraints. Are
Yeah.
there financial constraints? Are there physical
Hmm.
constraints? Are there time constraints? All of
Yeah.
that goes into me trying to figure out what's the best decision to make, for the community, and for the
Yeah.
city.
Wow. That's
And then
that's
working with the fellow council members, because it takes 5 votes. Make sure I got it.
yeah.
5. It takes 5 votes to get anything passed on city council.
Man, and people, like I said, they don't know the rub. They don't understand some of these things. So I like the fact that you're able to just get here and talk as a person about the stuff. But they, like I said, I'm a realist. I like to use my show
Yeah.
to let people know, hey, man, you need to look inside the glass. It's just not what you see on the outside. Like he got a bite in there for this stuff. And like you said, whatever decision you make, you got to go to sleep with that. You can't
Yeah.
even think twice anymore. With that being said, we're going to go into public safety. I got 2 questions that I want to ask. And then I know you got an appointment, so I got to get these because I know I want to be able to dice this up. But safety is, what exactly is your approach when it comes down to enhancing public safety while strengthening community policy and relations? Because when it's all said and done, you're talking about over there in the South side.
Hmm.
And I know when it comes down to safety and the community and all of the things, and I know, what was the officer, what's our big guy that was up here with us the last time? I'm having a,
White,
he was up here on the
Branch.
show with us.
Oh,
Uh,
don't give me
Big boy,
Boyce.
the big cop, and he ended up they did a piece on him on CNN. It'll come to me and when I do a replay, but you know,
Yeah.
he was always he just would go around to the schools. He'd go in there with his tattoos on, no, and his cut off
Oh,
muscle shirt.
I know who you're talking about. I forgot his name. I know who
Yeah,
you're talking about. No, I know who you're talking about.
yes. Stacy, if you can type it in the thing in the comments, that'll be great. But just kind of what will
So,
be the approach, and what's actually happening when it comes down to safety? What is the concern, and how do you address any of them?
so the first thing that I have to navigate through is, a lot of times there's two groups of people asking for different things, and it's by generation. If I talk to young people, anyone probably
Hmm.
35 and under, they're gonna say, Southeast Raleigh's been over policed, um, too many cops. We don't want to see them. They don't know how to talk to us. If I talk to anyone 55 and up or 60 and up,
Spoon, Officer Spoon,
Spoon,
Spoon.
yeah, yeah, he's retired. Witherspoon, yeah.
He
Yeah.
can't afford
So,
it. He don't have a table. Y'all need to get him a seat at the table.
I talked to you about that as well. I talked to you about that as well.
Okay. All right.
So,
Good.
anyone that's like 60 and up, what we hear from them is, I want to see more police. People out here speeding. People out here doing stuff, and they don't
Yeah.
look like it's sane or it's right. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing I want to mention, because that's the
Yeah.
lens I have to look through, these generational lenses. The things that I try to focus on is making sure any officers that work in our community, they care, and that they really want to work with the people, and meaning
Yes.
that they're willing to get out and have relationships and talk to people. And the first option isn't just arrest. The first option is, can we educate? How can we help? One of the things our new chief did
Yeah.
here was she partnered with AutoZone, because you have people with lights that are out, things of that nature. So if a cop stops someone, instead of getting a ticket, they can get a gift card and say, hey, you can go
Wow.
get this taken care of. And that went well. We ran out of gift cards. We're trying to get some more to see what we can do to keep that going. But
Can
it's all
people
about,
like donate those to the
they
city though,
can.
like gift
They
cards?
can.
Okay.
We can.
Okay.
If AutoZone or Jiffy Lube or whomever, Pep
Yeah.
Boys want to donate,
Yeah.
um, connect with our police chief. Um,
Absolutely. That is great. Like,
yeah,
don't be a part of the problem. Solve the problem. Help me solve the problem. There's
help
a
me
reason
solve
why
the
my light
problem.
is out. It costs money to get this thing fixed. Give me a gift card. Like,
Yeah.
see, this is what happens
It,
when heads come together and you start to look back at what has been done over history and then double down on new. This is
yep.
now. It's 2024.
And that's the
It's just
thing
not
too, is
good.
we have to focus on the now. I think a lot of
Yeah.
times we can't forget the past. We can't
Yeah.
forget
No.
things that have occurred, but I
Yeah.
would say we can't live there.
Bam.
So you
Yeah.
hold on to it, you keep it, and you use that as you move forward, but you can't live there. We have community officers. We're working to make sure our community officers are out and about, interacting. They attend meetings. So organizations that have meetings and they want someone to attend, it's our community officers that go out, that build those relationships. Our community officers do still respond to calls at times. So think about it. If you have a community officer that's been in meetings and they're responding to a call, that builds rapport. Someone just shared on Next Door, and
Mhm.
actually our officers picked it up and reshared it on Twitter, where I guess there was a disturbance call. People thought someone was trespassing. Next thing I know, I said video, police officers out playing basketball with kids. It's like those moments where when
Yeah.
you respond to a
Priceless.
call and you say, "Oh, it's just kids out here trying to play basketball. They're not causing any trouble, and they just wind up playing some basketball with them." Like it's building relationships like that. But also
Yeah.
from a government standpoint, when we say public safety, we don't only just consider police. We also
Yeah.
consider fire and our fire
Yeah.
department and what they
Yes.
do. And then when it's
Yeah.
warm and warm months, one of the things our chief has done is a lot of times you go by stations and doors are down and everything. He's like, hey, if you're in the station and it's warm, the weather's good, have your door up. Be be inviting, allowing kids.
Yeah.
Kids love fire trucks. Someone's
Kids
walking
love
by
fire
and they can
trucks.
go in, they can see our
Yeah.
fire trucks and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
public
And
safety
one thing they
also.
did here. Yeah, the officers down here at Fort Lauderdale had a thing, and they anytime they do anything, the fire trucks come out. That's kind
Mhm.
of part of what they do. It's just the whole thing. And I know in Raleigh they used to always have little things that the kids. That's just a huge part. And speaking of like the kids, like the health and wellness. This is the last question, and I'm gonna let it ride. But I had arts and culture coming up too. But when
I
it
can
comes
do
down to
2.
the
I'll
health.
take 2 more.
Okay, so kind of like how do you plan on promoting the health and wellness, initiatives within the community, especially in the underserved, you know, borders when it comes down to those who are underserved, like paying attention to that health and wellness,
Wellness
because a lot of it is not just physical. It's a lot of it is here,
is
like
mental.
is narrative. Like how will Cory Branch, someone who's taking great pride? Hold up, I want y'all to know, taking great pride in his health and wellness. Great pride in his health and wellness.
Oh, man. I'm smaller than that now. I still have I mean, that was pre-COVID, so I have some COVID
Yeah.
weight, but I am smaller than that.
You're funny, man. It's all good. It's all
So
good.
so when
So
you talk about health and especially mental health and wellness, part of that is
yeah,
also partnering with our medical providers. Wake Med right now is in the process of building a campus. They got permission
mhm,
for 150 beds to help with
yeah,
mental health and everything. But they're partnering with a group out of Florida. I cannot think of the name,
yeah.
not Florida, Ohio. A group out of
Okay,
Ohio to come in and run the mental health campus. And it's not just about putting someone in a room. It's about having green space, having
yeah,
things, yoga, different
yeah,
methods to help reach people, to
yeah,
address whatever they're dealing with. So that's one way. Um, Making sure our directors and our centers are connecting. um,
yeah,
Back in the day, we knew all our directors and all our community centers. Times have changed where people have
yeah,
retired, people are moving, everyone wants more money. So we're definitely addressing that and working through making sure we pay our city employees
yeah.
more than
It's a
just a
big
living
difference.
wage. So those are the things that we're looking at, and it's a heavy lift. We have over 4,000 city employees.
Yeah,
Um,
I have no doubt.
so
I have no doubt. When it comes down to like what I was going to mention was about the kind of like the arts and culture. It's a big thing
mhm.
here, like humongous. They got just whole districts on just art everywhere. So, and they allow them to do a lot of just painting. So that's everywhere here. Like you don't see a lot of paintings where I came from in Raleigh. Like you don't see a bunch of
You would
at
be
least a,
surprised.
well, I wouldn't doubt it now because it's like Charlotte, there was more. And then I know in areas in Raleigh, there were more like over by the train tracks and stuff. But it's like
We talking
you
about
don't have
approved
a,
artwork.
yeah, but yeah, approved artwork. But literally, like you don't build a new like the district without it having art all over it.
Right,
Like
right.
that's the thing. So, how do you, what is that vision when it comes down to growing the arts and culture, the scene in Raleigh? That's a big thing. Like, what do you see and
Yeah.
why do you believe this is important for the community?
Well, it's important because the arts also help you stay connected to your history. Because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times the arts tell a historic point of view of certain
Yeah,
things that have
they
occurred,
do.
and also they give
Yeah.
you exposure to different cultures through
Mm-hmm.
dance and music and things of that nature. So I'm
Yeah.
real big on it. We've had some art groups that are facing financial challenges. So we're trying to
Yeah.
navigate and work through that. They're trying to work
Yeah.
through it. They're nonprofits, but art as a whole has taken a hit coming out of
Yeah.
COVID because a lot of
Yeah.
people have gone outside instead of going to the theaters. Um,
Yeah.
Concerts, I think, are starting to come back. We're really working on having diversity in our
Yeah.
shows, from PNC Arena to Red Hat Amphitheater to Coastal
Yeah.
Carolina Amphitheater. Some know it as Walnut Creek Amphitheater. So
Yeah.
working through that, working through our community centers, talked about STEAM, getting talent in there, but also working with our schools, having more conversation with our partners with the school board on how we can partner and work together. It's a heavy lift. I think in the past
Yeah. Yeah.
there may not have been um, those that have had that focus and that mindset, but with me
Yeah.
being married to an artist, also having an engineering background, I'm learning how to merge the technical and the artistic
Yeah.
sides and bringing
Yeah.
it all together. They give people a release. Life is
It does,
stressful.
man.
Watching the
Yo.
news, it can be depressing. So,
Yeah.
finding ways to bring joy to people's life and giving people a sense
Yeah.
of hope. That's why I'm looking,
Yeah.
that's why I am running for mayor. I have a site,
Yeah.
corybranch.com, is my website
You
that's
put it
up.
up,
So definitely
corybranch.com. I'll make sure that's on the link.
corybranch.com. So it's all about bringing people together. It's all about hope.
Yeah, man. If you do, the last thing that I'd say for people that I wanted to say to you is, how do you create that personal motivation finally? Well, what personally motivates you to run for mayor now? And when it's all said and done, how do you encourage the others to get out there and do something like you're doing in the community? Because this is it, man. I know your parents are extremely proud. I know you, as a brother from another mother, I'm extremely proud, and I knew you could do it, and I knew that you were the kind of dude that needs to be in the office because you understand people and you're around a lot of different cultures, and that is a humongous thing. And so, how do you take that and inspire these other individuals? But first, what motivates you to run for the mayor? Like, put that on your ear to the
My
to the
family. It's I have a 5-year-old daughter. I have a 25-year-old, 27-year-old nephew. I have a 13-year-old nephew. I have a 9-year-old niece. You
wow,
know, I have My daughter has both sets of grandparents that are living
wow,
together, married. I have cousins. Those life experiences, that I've seen
Yeah.
here in Raleigh. I remember, some of our great spots, that we will go to. Some are
Yeah.
gone, some are still here. We still have
Yeah.
Jack Seafood, we have Frank's, but we still
Gotta
have
get some
Krispy
jacks.
Kreme,
Woo!
Krispy Kreme still. But, we still have our yoga
What?
spots for those that are into yoga
The
and healthy.
yoga.
I mean, Raleigh is a place that has something for everybody. And I want to
Mhm.
make sure everybody has an opportunity to experience it. It's real
Woo!
easy within my district for someone to be born in my district at Wake Med, go to preschool, elementary, middle, and high school, all in the same district. Go to college. They could go to Peace, St. All, or Shaw University, which are all still in my district. Get a job in
Yep.
my district, and then be buried in my district and never leave it. So if someone doesn't do that, what can we bring into the district? What can we bring into the
Yeah.
city? There's people that
Yeah.
have been born in this city and may have never left this city. So what
Yeah.
exposures and opportunities can we bring to them? I've been fortunate. My parents have
Yeah.
availed me the ability to travel, to go places, to see things
Yeah.
as an adult. I've been able to go places and see things. And those life experiences, I know Raleigh is the best place in the world to be
Yeah.
born, to be
Yeah.
raised, to work, and to be buried.
Yeah.
And people are moving here to prove it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as mayor, I want to make sure people continue to have opportunity to pursue their dreams and goals in a positive, healthy way.
That is beautiful, man. And this is the reason they need to have the right person in that seat. And Stacy says, "Best of luck, Corey." Would boy, this is they'll be lucky to have you as
Thank you.
mayor. They will be lucky to have you as mayor. And little do they know what's to come. And the more that they don't know, the more that they get to know you, the more they're going to like you and not dislike you.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons I
And
queued that
even if they
question.
dislike me, just please respect me.
Just respect the game because everybody can't do that. Everybody can't do what I'm doing when it's all said and done. So, congratulations on taking that leap. Your family got to be proud of you. Your
Yeah.
city, those who are going to meet you because you're going to run and go after it, they're going to get to see how you deal with all types of controversy because you're going to have to overcome it in that race and you're
Right.
going to keep getting back and they're going to know and get to see what I got to see. And that, with that being said, brother, thank you for taking the time to come on the show. And we will definitely be in touch and connect with you and make sure that, this ride, you keeping your jab hand up, bah, throwing that
Hey,
left hook like you were on the
hey, always protect yourself at all times.
protect yourself at all times, brother. Look, man, you be blessed at Godspeed. Tell the family I said hello, and you guys enjoy the beginning of this season here, the new year, boy. You got your name all over it. Congratulations, brother, and we
Hey,
got you.
God's got
We
it.
got
It's
your
it.
back.
God's got
That's
it.
right.
Thank you.
That's it, brother.